Hello everyone, I'm MVL, and today we're going to be painting a Dungeons and Dragons miniature on stream. This is a werewolf, specifically a WizKids Fey werewolf from Critical Role. I have a picture of what it's supposed to look like here on the back of the packaging. As you can see, it has kind of like a braided beard to it. I cut that off, made a bit of a mess of it, but I wanted this to look a bit more like my character that I'm going to show you in a moment. So I'm in one of my D&D games playing a Foxfolk detective. Kind of hard to get a look here, but this is my Foxfolk detective, and this is a Hero Forge mini that was custom made, and I painted it obviously. And so the backstory here is that my Foxfolk is a detective, like a film noir style detective, and they encountered not a werewolf but a werefox, because I thought it was funny that a Foxfolk would be a werefox. They encountered a werefox in one of their past cases. Secretly was a werefox when the full moon would rise. So I want a mini to represent that. It's actually kind of perfect that the pose here is somewhat identical and the size is about right as well. So yeah, this is going to be my mini for that transformation. I had another mini that's a bit more monstrous, but I want one for this kind of scenario. So there's that. Now this is apparently pre-primed. I've tried to cut off some of the mold lines on it, but because it's already got that primer on it, I haven't done a lot. Like you can see a little bit here. I'm going to paint this sash, I think purple, to go with a sort of Hulk look, if you will. The ground on these minis is normally grey or brown. I think I'm going to do it grey because otherwise it'll clash with the overall skin tone, fur I should say. And yeah, so I think I'm looking at sort of a reddish brown color for the majority of the body, and then a lighter color for the chest, under the snout, and the back of the tail. And then a grey for the base. This should be a fairly straightforward mini to do. The eyes, I think I would like to do them white. Probably no irises, pupils rather. Just white eyes. And then the teeth white as well. Claws will be a lighter colour, probably the same colour I used to highlight the fur. But yes, so I think what I'll end up doing is I'm gonna prime this again anyway, especially as this colour is a bit too bright for the colour I'm gonna put on afterwards. I'm gonna prime it like a very dark grey. Won't paint the underside of the base. I'm gonna need that as it is to affix it to the stand, which is transparent. Kind of would have preferred if the stand was black, because then it would be a little easy and you wouldn't see this underneath. But what are you going to do? I did wash the mini just in case it needed washing anyway, even though it was pre-primed. And yeah, so I think do it dark grey. Then I'm going to put a dark red on it. Then I'm going to dry brush the body, probably an orange. Then a lighter orange, I reckon. Hadn't thought about the mane actually. Kind of hoping that goes unnoticed, because this is a werewolf, not a werefox. I'm just going to paint it like it is a werefox. And yeah, and then a lighter colour for the chest, probably the ears, tail, do the mouth and eyes, which will be the most difficult part, I think, because the detailing on this, it's hard to see here, but the detailing on this is, as will happen with the with minis produced in large numbers. Funnily enough, actually, there was a bit of a weird thing with this. Came with another mini, of course, and the other mini is significantly larger. Even it's in a different pose, and I think they did it in a way so that they could pose it. But this model here is significantly, like, look at the size of the arm compared to this arm. That is ridiculous. And obviously, it's a they did it as they had to make the pose of the Mini. It's just a minor criticism, but it does kind of look funny that this model is like technically, if this was standing up, it would be like twice the size of this, right? Anyway, that's that as it is. That model I will probably use as an actual werewolf at some point, whereas this one. Anyway, it's been 5 minutes. I should get painting. I haven't actually like chosen my brush or anything before I start streaming. The only thing I did is I put on a noise cancelling gimmick on my microphone because I figured that I might end up making a lot of noise going through paint pots and all that stuff. I have some old army painter brushes, I think, here. So here's a base coating brush. If you want to see what paints and stuff I'm using the packaging from the Fey Werewolf thing to put my paint in, and I will be using this surface primer from Vallejo initially. Will be my first paint. It's going to be very boring because I'm just going to be covering this whole thing that color, except the bottom, obviously, which is a bit awkward. So the start of this, before I begin, actually, almost forgot, I should put some paper or something down here. So let's do that. Now, normally, what I would want to do here is to take, like, say, a bottle cap and then stick this to the bottle cap and then paint like that way. But I wasn't super prepared for this, so we're going to just do it like this. It's going to get pretty dirty, hence the paper. But yeah, haven't used these paints in a while actually, so it's going to need a shake. You won't hear that, but I'm shaking it right now because of the program I put on my microphone. I've got a lot of light here actually, another light setup. Isn't an ideal setup, obviously, especially the angle from which I perceive here. Now I'm using a phone as a webcam here, and when I was doing that, the computer, because computers like to change how they do stuff all the time, my computer wanted to use the internet of my phone instead of my actual internet. So I was having a lot of problems and I could not figure out what was going on, and that was the actual problem. So yeah, that took a minute to sort out. Didn't used to do that actually, but for a while my phone stopped working with the Open Broadcast software plugin which I'm using. For a while it stopped working. And now it should start working again, as PCs like to do. Anyway, I've given this a little shake, but this paint itself is very thin. So I will be mindful of. I'm going to need more than that, obviously. I'm going to be mindful of that. And this is very dark, but bear in mind I'm going to be painting like red over the top of this. There's no way I'm not going to get my fingers dirty here. And I also want this as the base for the base, but I'm not going to do all of the base initially. Now, unfortunately, from my angle of where I'm looking at, I can't see too well here. The shadow of the webcam is covering up my point of view, so I'm going to try and make sure that this is on very thinly. But this will pop a little more when we get red on it, obviously. It's not going to matter if I put this on too thick, because the base coat is very thin and it is designed to kind of thin out as it goes. But for the layer paints, like the red I'm going to put on later, I do need to make sure I don't put that on too thick. This one is not too bad. It's probably going to be fine. And as a matter of fact, this is probably going to be fine in one coat. At least it looks that way from my perspective right now, but it does look like I'm putting it on fairly thick. So I am going to lift this up closer to my point of view in a moment, just to double check that I haven't put it on too crazily. But yeah, like, it's hard to see the definition here, but the point of the base coat Normally, if it wasn't primed already, it would give you a good starting point for the other colors to adhere to. Also, in this instance, I do want to make the mini a little bit darker. Glad I put the paint down, the paper down, because you can you can see that I'm already getting it. This paint here is very, like I said, very thin. The rest of the paints shouldn't be this bad for this sort of thing. But this will probably be fine on one layer, because I will be painting over it in red anyway. And it's not super going to matter if I like miss little areas either. Although I would like to get like the hidden areas that you can't see, because particularly one of the good things about a darker color is that it will hide the gaps and the small places that you don't actually manage to cover up, if you will. Might be helped out by this sort of thing. I'm going to make sure I go all the way down to the legs and have all of the underside here done. This would have been a particularly good time to have had something other than the actual base of the mini to hold on to. Like a miniature stand or something. It's normally what I used to do. As a matter of fact, actually, I am going to quickly check where my paints were stored if I didn't already have a couple of minis that were on top of something like this. Right, let's give that a second to dry while I take a better look at it where I can see it a little better in a moment. Then I'll give it a minute to dry. Yeah, it looked like I've slapped it on a little thick. Now that I get a good look at it. But that's fine, it is a base coat. Alright, I will give that a moment to dry and obviously wash my brush as well. But my hands are already getting dirty. Okay, did I already have a mini in that setup? Doesn't look like it. I thought perhaps I might have a miniature that was already on like the lid of something that I could have used. That's fine. I think I'm gonna want a no. This brush will be fine for the next part, but I want a dark red color next. This looks like it's still wet for me though. I think when I did the Foxfolk. Hey Trevor, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you dropping by. I think when I did the Foxfolk, I mixed the color together. I don't think I actually had the right color. I think I'm going to use this Citadel paint. I think I'm going to use that. I think it's going to be quite dark. Unless I have something a little darker. I could use, I have this game color heavy red, but I think this paint is quite thin. I've also got this dragon red They look too red to me. I think I want something a bit more purple. I think this will be fine. When I put it over this already dark base coat, I think it's gonna be fine. How are you doing, Trevor? Hope you're doing well. It looks like this is still wet as well. So I'll give that a minute. I'll have some of my coffee in between. Now, normally this color dries pretty quickly. Doing well? I'm doing okay, Trevor. Gonna be just black and red? Well, red is gonna be like the next layer up. So black was, or dark grey, I should say, was more so to like darken the miniature a little bit and also apply a base color. I definitely put too much of it in here as well, but that's fine. Um, the red is going to be a base for the orange, or yeah, orange I think is what I will put on top of that. But I'm going to dry brush the orange on. It's definitely darker. Still not dry yet. Actually, where I touched it, I kind of need to do it back up again. Getting there. Like it's the awkward thing here is that I can't really touch the base that much, and I want to do the base. So that's awkward. Like I said, what I would used to do is I would put this on like a bottle cap, and then the bottle cap I would stick the mini onto the bottle cap, and then I would be fine. I think what I'll just do is I'll do that, and then I will finish the base later on, because the base, this will be the color for the base, and then I will like dry brush on like a light gray to this. This paint will like thin out a little bit as well, so it should be fine. But I will have to wait for that to dry. It's something I didn't anticipate actually. Is the drying time. I should have had a fan next to it. I think this brush will do for the next part as well. But I'm not going to be as like dark as the Fey Werewolf pictures. It's not going to be that dark. It's going to be brighter than that. Because I am doing a Werefox, which is totally going to work. In actual fact, I think I should have maybe done the base coat before I streamed. But I think the good thing is you can't really tell that I've once you put a color on, you can't really tell that I've cut away under the chin to get rid of its like goatee. So that's something. All right. I think I'm gonna I definitely can grab a bottle cap. I'm thinking this is gonna be so much easier. The only thing I don't think I have is blue tack to like blue tack this to the bottle cap. So I think it's gonna be way easier if I do that. Let me have a quick rummage while it's dry in here. Well, I found myself a bottle cap, but it is also not attached to recycle together. But I could not find anything to actually stick it onto there without actually using glue. I could, I guess I could glue it on here and then just like pull it off. It seems a bit crazy to do that though. I'm looking through my old paints here, see if I had anything like that was being painted in process. I don't think I do. Oh, well, that's what you get for not being prepared. But yeah, what I would do back when would be simply you attach that to that with like blue tack or something. Then you can hold that instead of holding the mini. It makes a lot more sense. Oh well, it looks like it's getting drier. I wouldn't want to put on the second coat until it is actually dry, especially as I'm going to be holding the base. But it looks like this type of paint dries very quickly anyway, so that's not going to be a big deal. And the layer paints like this one will dry pretty fast as well. Especially as these layer paints that we're going to put on, they're thicker paints, and we're going to put on thinner layers if that makes sense. I guess I should probably just start looking for the next layer up as well, because this is going to be the under paint. I guess I'm gonna want to go red or brown. You know what? A darker brown would probably be better than red. Maybe I do a brown and then I dry brush red onto it. I actually don't remember what I did for my other one. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll find like a brown and dry brush red on top instead of red and dry brush brown. Maybe that'll work. I'm gonna be wanting to do orange anyway. What's the plan when it's done, Trevor? So I have a character in Dungeons and Dragons that is a foxfolk detective, and this is going to be their transformed form when, as I knock it down, this is going to be their transformed form when they are a werefox, which is their curse. So that's pretty much the plan for that. I've made quite the bit of mess around me. All right. I guess I want a brown and an orange. I'm just looking through some boxes of paints off camera now for. Oh, the other thing I should probably mention as well is when it's all done, it's going to get some matte varnish. This is acrylic matte varnish from Vallejo, and this is like a very important part of painting a mini that a lot of people probably forget about or don't do. But this looks white, but when it goes on, it will be like invisible clear. But that's one of the things you'd probably do to like all of your minis because it's going to stop them from getting like chipped and all of that sort of thing when they're used. All right, so I do have some oranges. They're just really bright. Like this is like way too bright. I think what I will do actually, I think I'm just going to mix these two together and make like a darker orange. 'Cause I don't think I have a color that is quite like that. Oh, you know what? This Wazdaka red kind of looks a bit more appropriate. Maybe I'll go with that instead of the Mephiston red. This look a bit darker. This looks a bit darker to me, like a bit more browny. I think I'm gonna go with this. It's my current plan. I also have corn red actually. Is this a bit? This looks a bit purpley. I think this looks a bit better. I'm gonna need to give him a good shake, but I suppose the brown probably first, like Mornfang brown. Do that. Then the red, maybe. No, I think so. I'm looking at my other model. I don't remember what I did here. I think I genuinely just painted it red and then used an ink. So I think we'll do red. We'll do we'll just do red for the body, and then we'll dry brush like a red on top of that. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Hey Jay, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Good job. I kept my mini preference. So we're not gonna put brown on. I think we're gonna put brown on for the tail, but a light brown. I think the majority of the model is like somewhat dry now. I don't think I'm getting any on my fingers. Yeah. How you doing, Jay? Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you dropping by. So I think it was either Mephiston Red or Wazdaka Red that I used. I think it was probably this. I think it was my first choice. The first choice was correct. Let's see if it's dried up. Has not. Yeah, you know what? This looks about the right color to me for this mini. From what I did before, that looks. I mean, this is obviously more orange. Maybe I'll mix it a little more orange. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll mix it up a little bit. Just chilling, Jay. Appreciate you chilling with me, my friend. Yeah, I think I will mix that up with a bit of that fire dragon color and make it a bit lighter instead of using the other red. So I'll lose the Wazdaka red. I'll mix these two together a little bit. I'll try that. I still got some space in here for my mixing. Give that a go. I want it to be a bit orangey, but still quite red. So let's try that. Yeah, that is quite bright. I want it to be a bit darker than that. Then again, I'm gonna put a wash over the top. I think. So there's that. Let me use a different brush here for the other color. This is a standard brush from Army Painter. Oh, the Fire Bright Orange is needing a lot of shaking up. I think this will end up coming on darker anyway because of its colorization anyway. Is that going to be enough, do you reckon? I think maybe it doesn't need to be. The thing is, I don't quite remember what I did last time I did this model, the main character model rather. That's actually looking more like what I want it to now. Actually, it's still very red, but the kind of thing I'm wanting to go for is quite red anyway. So should we go with that? This dry? Feels kind of dry. Oh, it looks a little wet to me still. Could just start slapping it on though and see what happens. How does that look? Looks very red still, doesn't it? Then again, well, I think I do want it to be. I could dry brush an orange on afterwards. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll do the red and then I'll dry brush an orange on. I want this layer to be thinner, so I need to be a bit more careful than I was with the previous paint. But that is definitely like, that is just red. But that might be fine. That might be fine. I'm going to avoid the pants as well. I want the pants to be purple. Yeah, I'll try dry brushing on some orange, but this is at the moment just looking red. Now I kind of want to avoid doing the mouth, but it's really hard for me to see the mouth. Don't want to do the inside of the mouth, basically. I think I've somewhat avoided it. It's very like even with the like extra light I've got here, it's still quite hard to see what I'm doing from this perspective. Look at that chest on this guy. Hot stuff. Yeah, I definitely need to wait a little bit because the paint in this area isn't dry. I say as I keep painting. Be a bit thinner. Look at them muscles on that model. Oh, definitely went over the pants, but that's fine. The pants are going to be purple. I think what I'm going to do once I've done this little bit is I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. And I might move my light if I can get it a little bit closer and at an angle. Not too fussed if I get the red on the base either, because I can just do that again. I'm not going to try too hard to do like the underside because it's just smooth down there anyway. Like if people are lifting up my minis to look at the underside, there's probably more going on. Right. Yeah, let me move my light real quick. But I mean, the red is sort of working for me a little bit. It's supposed to be a were fox, so it's gonna be red. Yeah, I'm gonna move my light and try and get it closer. Hopefully, I don't disconnect anything. Let me just do that real quick. This is definitely not going to cause any problems. About as close as I can get it. Now my light's at an angle, I should be able to see a little better myself. I'm not sure that helped that much. Oh well. Alright. Let me switch brush. Going with the standard brush now. Where it'll be a little easier to paint, I hope. It is very red though. Once again, like, sounds like I'm making excuses here, but like from my angle, very difficult to see the detail here. So I will have to go over this a lot afterwards. I'm very like fix it as I go type painter. I always like go back and fix little bits. I don't like paint one bit all the way around and then go like, that's fine. I'll like move backwards a lot and fix stuff. I don't quite see under here. I'm just gonna hope that worked. This red in particular is gonna get brighter when I put the orange on top. Man, can I turn like the flash on? Oh my goodness, that is so much better. That is so much better. I was just thinking, can I turn the flash on my freaking phone that I'm using as a webcam? That's way better. Now I can see what I'm doing. Should have done that to begin with. Now I can see in the little nooks and crannies. Or however you're supposed to say that. That has made a world of difference. See, now I can tell where I've messed up here. What I like to do is I like to fix little bits as I go. It means I paint like slower than obviously a lot of other people, but as long as the colour is in the right place, it's fine. Now the worry here, of course, is that this is going to use up the battery a lot. Man, I don't know why I didn't think about this beforehand. This is, gotta be careful not to bump into my, stand holding the camera. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about turning the flash on first. I mean, what I really need, and obviously I didn't think about it beforehand, was I need a little, like, another lamp closer, but I didn't really have a a setup at the time, specifically for painting. At this layer, I don't really want the darker color to shine through any. So, I mean, if it's like right under the legs, it's fine, but in most places I want this to be covered up by the layer. Then again, I am putting orange on later, so there's that. Precision painting, Trevor? No, unfortunately not. I made a couple of oopsies already, but that's fine. That's gonna happen. This bit by the base isn't quite dry as well. I think I should touch up the legs, but I think I'm gonna do this bit before the paint gets to. I was worried a bit as well because the chest there was and now with this light actually I can tell that the paint is pooling under the abdomen, so I actually can't do that bit right now. But hey, go for it. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. I'm painting a what will be a werefox. At least I hope so. And I only just realised I could turn the light on my phone, which I'm using for webcam. So that's made this a little bit easier. That's why I'm painting it red anyway. I think this mini's so small, the mouth is going to be a bit of a problem. As a matter of fact, I can still see some of the primer in the mouth. Hey, appreciate that Go For It painting. Thank you for the well wishes in the early stages here, obviously. This is one of the reasons why I think I'm going to do the next part as a dry brush, so I can sort of get away with like the base colors in parts. Alright, still can't quite do the abdomen because it's not quite dry enough yet, but I will do another bit on the back here just to sort of like darken it up a little bit. Get more of that colour in. Oh, I forgot about the tail entirely actually. I'm using my phone as a webcam, Jay. Yeah, that's like I use my phone for stuff like when I do the unboxings. The video from the unboxing portion will be from my phone, and I'm using it in this instance. Did not realize in the OBS plugin I could also turn on my light, which has made a big difference here. Now I can actually see what I'm doing. I actually got an additional light for this, but I'm going to need probably like another light at some point. The biggest thing I obviously should have done in hindsight is one of the like things to do when you're sort of painting a mini is to like either put it on a painting stand or put it on like a bottle cap and put some plasticine on that and then stick it, or blue tack rather, and stick it to that. I didn't have that ready in time or didn't think about it. More so just didn't think about it. And that would have been a bit more helpful. Although this is just sort of like making this guy red, I think when I put the other layers on, I think it's not gonna be that big a deal that this is sort of the wrong color right now. Oh, I just remembered I forgot about the tail, didn't I? Yep. Gotta do that tail. Alright, the tail. For recording your CRT, Jay, what you want to do is match the refresh rate of your screen with the camera. As long as you have like the right refresh rate, it shouldn't flicker, if you know what I mean, in the way that CRTs do. Sometimes you can get really lucky and a camera might have the right settings for it, but ultimately the better way to do it would be to have like a camera that you can dial in the settings. You want to match your face to a cheeseburger, eh, Trevor? Cheeseburger. I've had definitely mixed success with recording like a off a screen before. I think I had to do it with certain games. There's apps to do that as well, Jay. That's fair. I think for certain games, like with the 3DS and stuff, like obviously it's not CRT, but I've had to record directly off the screen. When it comes to like old consoles, the way I record an old console rather than recording the screen is, let's say it only has like aerial output. I will put the aerial output into a VHS video recorder rather. Um, Remember videos? And then from that, I will take the RGB SCAR out and record that. That tends to be what I do with those, and that's worked pretty well for me for a while. I rarely have to do it because I've like for most systems, I have like the ability to put them in a scaler. Um, but for stuff like the DS and the 3DS, I have to record those from the screen, and it's not ideal. I am going to go back over this little bit here along the butt to make sure I didn't do this too badly. That seems fine for now. What I'll do now is I haven't done the top of the head. Always seeing angles I haven't thought about. I'm gonna go back with the base color. I haven't done the chest as well because it looks to me like it's still sort of like wet there. Kind of looks like it to me, like it's still wet under the chest. So I'm gonna go back and fix some of that with the detail brush and the uniform grey, I think it was. This color, which is very thin, so I've got to be careful with it. It looks black, but it is a very dark grey. You want to get a new camcorder, Jay? I got like one quite a while, like ages and ages ago. And to be fair, like the phones you get these days are not better than my camcorder, but more convenient. Because like a actual camera will always be better than a phone that does a camera on the side. But I find my other devices more convenient to use. You know what? Maybe I didn't need to fix this right now because I'm going to be dry brushing this in a minute. But like I said, I like to fix things along the way. Feet are going to be tough to do. Right, that looks respectable. It's still really wet under the chest. I need to do the inside of the mouth as well, actually. I forgot about that. I might need a thinner brush for that, though, actually. As a matter of fact, I definitely will. I have a pot of water to the side as well to... Hey, Predator, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. I got a pot of water to the side for the paints for as well. Here is the Warhammer detail brush with paint still on it. I think I actually thinned this brush, the end of the brush, so that it was like more precise than it probably should be or needs to be. I'll use that in the mouth real quick. I'm also going to use this brush probably for the eyes. Yeah, I can see here that there's a little bit that's unpainted in the mouth. I've definitely just messed up, but that's fine. Alright. You doing well today, Predator? Good to hear, my friend. Now I need an orangey colour to go over this with, but not this bright. Maybe I should just try and mix it again and hopefully mix it a bit better with the red. A little bit more orangey. Well, to be fair, it also needs to be a bit browner as well. Do I have a paint that is just that? What about the Siege Brown? Maybe that looks a little too grey to me. Maybe I'll mix a little bit of that in. I do want the sort of orangey look. But it also needs to be a bit ready, doesn't it? Glad you're doing well, Predator. Appreciate you checking out the stream. Let me paint the pants, I guess. The pants are going to be purple. I'm probably free to do that whilst the other stuff is drying. I've got this blue. It is a base colour. Maybe I should do blue first and then put the purple on after. Blue seems like an easier colour to add here from grey to blue. Seems like that'll work to me. Let's do that. Gonna need a shake. Gonna run out of space here. You know what? It looks kind of purpley anyway, so that'll work for me. Let's do them pants. I'm going to be applying a wash to this anyway, so like we're going to get some of the detail out from that at some point. I wouldn't mind leaving a little bit of the like black colorization in here a little bit as well. Just adding a different color to it, I think, helps as well to like break it apart a little bit. Obviously, I still need to do the stomach, but like I can, like I said, the paint seems to have pooled in there a little bit, so I can't really like get to it right now. Well, that was a screw up. Gotta redo that little bit there. I might use a like a black for that. I'm not gonna do the like whole of this cloth that color. I think I'm just gonna do the bits you can see. I think I might stick with blue now. Actually, I kind of like it. Like it offsets to red nicely. I tell a lie. I'm definitely gonna change it to purple. I've clearly missed a bit around here, but it's I don't think it's going to be that big a deal when we get like the inks in. It's not going to be super noticeable. So like the back of that, I want to leave black. I think. Where's my actual black paint? Somewhere around here, that's for sure. Here's Abaddon Black. That is really watery. We're gonna paint it black, Trevor, just like the song said. Alright, this is really watery considering it's supposed to be a base color. I suppose it's better than it being completely dried up. I'm gonna try and use that to fix some of the issues I had around the back here. I guess the line of this leg needs to be sort of. Does it actually? Yeah, I guess it does. Easier for me to sort that out with black than it is to go back with a red. I think that was it. I think so. If there was anything else that I needed to fix up, I don't remember. Alright, let's try and do the midsection, because I've got to do it at some point. I'm not going to bother mixing in any of the orange, it wasn't doing much. Does it look like it's dry yet? I can't really tell. That's what I'll do. I'll leave a little bit under. It's like a waistline. Brighten this up a little bit with the second layer. I really want to put it on his pectoral region because it was kind of like messed up from the mini. Right, it's looking better. The tail does need to be much brighter because that's going to be a lighter color anyway in a moment. So that bit I missed a bit entirely down here. Alright, let me try and do the bit I just painted black over. Probably won't work. You try not to hit the stand as well while I'm doing it. That is way too thick. Well, I think I messed that up again. One terrible habit I have as well is I will like dry the brushes on my palms of my hands. You can tell already that the brushes have a lot of paint on them just generally, and that's partially due to me doing that. That wasn't so bad. I think the pants should be blue. Kind of dig the blue. I guess now I will highlight the body. Or should we think about changing that blue to purple? I guess we should probably think about doing that before I start doing a highlighting. I want a like brighter color on the body. I'm gonna ink it anyway, so I want to bring it like blue's better than green, Trevor. Do I even have a purple? That's the thing. I have a purple ink. I got that. Does that look purpley? Looks more bluish to me. It looks kind of purpley. I'll use that. Maybe I'll mix it with a blue. I want it a bit brighter. That's better. That's more so what I want. I'll just put a little bit of that on. Don't need to like do the whole thing so much because it's already got a base color on it. So I can be relatively sparing with this. Doesn't need to like super cover everything. Especially as I'm going to ink it soon anyway. What I'm going for is like Incredible Hulk. Yeah, I think I like that a bit more. It's a bit darker than I want, but you know, what are you going to do? I'll highlight it shortly. Alright, we need this fur to be brighter. So, I guess this? That's the... I think that's an orange that I do have. Oh, I tell a lie. I got this orange. This might just work by itself. Yeah, this might be fine by itself. It probably won't be. I'll probably need to darken it a little bit. Need a dry brushing brush as well. Cool. Here's a Citadel small dry brush. Dry brushes are kind of like a stipple type top to them. This one's kind of, a bit ruined, but what are you going to do? And for this, I'm just going to tissue paper, going to put the brush onto the tissue paper to like dry off most of it. And that's how I'm going to do it. So let's use some of this orange. That's pretty good, actually. Pretty good. I might use this unaltered color for the chest and the tail. But right now, I think I'm gonna darken that a little bit by mixing it with what's left here of this red. Yeah, that's about where I want it. Alright, I fully admit that dry brushing is something I'm not very good at doing. Because I always tend to leave too much paint on the brush. So like I'm basically trying to get it down to the point where there's some paint on the brush. I guess that's right. I've always been really bad at doing this. Can't tell if I'm just painting it again. It's brightened it up a little bit. Maybe I want to use a different brush. Maybe I need a bigger dry brush. Here's a hobby dry brush. This feels like more like the right kind of one. Right, right then. I sort of knew it wouldn't work on the chest the way I wanted it to. But we're getting like some muscle definition through now, so that's sort of working. Oh, there's a bit behind the ears I forgot to paint. It looks a bit skin tony, but then I'm gonna put a different color on the rest of it in a minute anyway. Let me sort of. I'm just gonna sort of like paint the chest here a little bit. The trouble I tend to have with dry brushing is I just have too much paint on the brush. But you can be somewhat liberal with it because you're not gonna see the effects too much on the other colours. paint that ear bit as well. I better do that. The inside of the mouth still needs to be black. Let's do that again. Get in there, Trevor. Yeah. It's like bit by bit you gotta sort of like just keep stabbing at it till you start getting there. I mean, to be fair, I need to do the teeth at some point. That's going to be a pain. I almost want to just leave the mouth black. I think that's going to be the easier thing to do. Maybe I should just leave the mouth black. Sort of got some like definition of the ears. The eyes I should probably do at this point. I guess I'll wait till after I've done the ink. Maybe I should do it beforehand. Alright, first and no doubt unsuccessful attempt to do the eyes. Oh, I need to do that bit behind the ear as well, actually. Quickly. Eyes are like the worst bit. It was it. This ear, this ear. You know what? The ink will cover that up. The ink will cover that up. I don't need to do that bit. Alright. I need a white. Do I have a white? Yes. I have a white, but it might be dried up. I guess I will try and do the teeth. So I'm looking at the image they give you. And on the image they give you, the teeth of the werewolf aren't done. I think that's probably the way to do it. I think the detail is so small that it's going to be too difficult to do the teeth, I think. To be fair, they also, in the painted image, they also haven't painted the eyes. But I've got to paint the eyes. Alright. This is going to be one of the more difficult parts. But I only need to do it this one time. If I screw it up, I can just paint over it. That was definitely screwed up. Let's try the other side. That's not so bad. That one way too much. I'm going to leave the eyes white as well. So, I think I need to fix I mean, that's way too much. Can I just rub it off, actually? Can I get away with doing that? Just sort of... No. I think I'd better wait for it to dry and then do something about it. White eyes, Trevor. Yeah, I'm going with like... So like normally I would also try and do like pupils, which is very difficult, but not in this instance. Wait, is this the purple? Oh, I mixed my own purple, didn't I? Yeah. That was nearly very silly. I'm just going to fix the bits I went over with the dry brushing. Alright. I'm gonna try and fix the eye now, even though it's like only just done it. I might get away with it. Probably won't though. I need a very small brush. This is a character brush. I'm going to use this. And some of that red. I'm going to switch to the fine detail. I'm so close to getting this eyeball right. It's just real awkward work. Back to the detail brush. There you go. Right, I think that's actually better than the other one. They'll stay white, the eyes. I think I'll keep the eyes white. Do I try and put some white in the mouth? I don't think I am. I think I'm just going to leave the mouth black. There's not enough like detail, I think, to pick up on it. Alright, let's try some of this unaltered. Gonna go on the chest, below the mouth, inside the ears, and on the back of the tail. And this time I'm not gonna modify it. I think I need to do the top of the head a little bit as well. Let me quickly paint that now. I don't know what I was thinking with that. That's not gonna work. Well, I need to do the top of the head again. That's fine. Whatever. Nice, Jay. Nice. Alright, well let me do this bit first and then I'll fix that bit I just did. I'll fix the mess I just made in a minute. I think that needs a little bit. It's not quite the right color. Yeah, it's not quite right. Close. As it turns out, I need to repaint some of this red on anyway. Um, yeah, basically like that, I guess. Let's put some brighter color on the purple. Maybe I'll just, I don't know, mix it with white, I guess? Sure, I'll mix it with white. Is purple still usable? That's way too bright. That's blue. Alright, better. I'm going to use this not dry brush base coating brush for this. Whoops. You know what? This brush is like way too unwieldy for this. I think I actually am just going to paint it on with a standard brush. I think I'm just going to paint it on. Actually try and do some actual painting. I'm just going to paint the highlights up because I am going to be inking it in a minute anyway. So it's not that big a deal if it's slightly wrong. Okay, I can see that I need to put a little more red on his leg now as well. Let's go ahead and just actually paint in some of the lighter color. The neck is... Hey, Jonan, how's it going, buddy? Welcome. The neck is supposed to be brighter than it currently is. Alright, I mean, obviously the chest looks really weird right now, but I'm hoping that when I put on the inks, it'll make that less obvious. I got purple on the tail. Working on some D&D stuff of your own, Jonan? Nice. I'm alright at this, Trevor. No, I think the chest isn't looking the way I really want it to be fair. But again, I'm hoping the ink will mediate this a little bit. Let me get a fine. You know what? Just in case it doesn't, let me get a fine detail brush and like actually paint in some of the lines I want to see on the chest. Then there's no way it can like be wrong, and the ink will just add some definition. Here's my really small brush. I kind of like what it's done with the mouth actually, because now it like accidentally on purpose looks like I've painted some detail on the mouth. They look a bit weird. Kinda does, doesn't it? Maybe this chest doesn't need to be all red. Oh well, we'll get there in a minute, I guess. Oh, the inside of the ears as well need to be brighter, don't they? That's what Fox's ears look like. Maybe doing the outside will be easier. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think the chest looks a bit weird. Like, the actual chest area looks a bit weird, but maybe it'll look more normal as we mess with it. Hopefully, the the inks will bring down the kind of like messed up contrast going on between the colors. And it'll blend a bit more naturally. I should not have just applied that with, I forgot that I mixed down this colour to look a bit less obvious. Oh well, guess it's done now. Sure. Okay. Still looks a bit like he's just got like weirdly pronounced chest. But whatever. I'll fix it in a minute. I might just have to like redo the jawline, you know. It's certainly looking that way. Because like the underside of a fox is like more so more so brown. That's what I'm going for. Alright. I guess we'll just see what happens when we bring it down a bit. So what I will do, I'm not sure for the I still think these pants need more color. They need more like brightness to them. Add some brush coat on that. And the back looks a bit, put a bit of definition on that. I'm gonna do the claws. I think the reason the mouth looks so weird is because like that's where I cut it. So I edited the miniature a little bit so that it didn't have like a weird beard. And that's why that looks a little weird. Alright, claws. I'm gonna go with a bone color. That was close. I thought I'd unplugged my phone for a second. Gotta be very careful with this thing. Oh yeah, you mentioned that before, Trevor, about someone thinking you were using like fixed dice when you were playing D&D. It's a really weird thing to comment on from my perspective. Um, it's like you know when you read those like D&D Reddit threads, and it's like that sort of thing. It's like, yeah, no, I can't really comment on it. I mean, I know players that have like had bad practices, and I've tended to just avoid interacting with those people. But yeah, I mean, anytime you have that sort of like interaction, it's tough to deal with, right? I mean, I would just say if you're not like vibing with your group, then where are the claws on this mini? It's hard to tell. Then it's time to be in a different group. Obviously, I've had to leave D&D groups before in the past. because whether one thing or another is just not happening the way I want it to. It's fair, that happens. It's one thing where like session zeros really help to like figure out the vibe for like a group when you're in it. Yeah, for sure, Joan. And sometimes it's not worth hassle. Like I've played in groups, and like one of the groups I left was they were fine people. I got along with them outside of playing D&D. It's just the way they wanted to play D&D was like a board game, and the way I wanted to play D&D was more role play. And it's just like it's fine, but we just oh my goodness, I've totally messed that up. We just don't. We're not on the same wavelength when it comes to that sort of thing. And I mean, obviously, I would say if somebody thinks you're cheating in a group and you're not cheating, like, I don't think you need to prove to them. I think you should just not play with them. Just one of those tough things. I had a like a battle map. So the group that I was playing in, that I really think I should do the teeth, but how am I going to do those teeth? They're so small. Oh well. Uh, the group I was playing in, um, one of them had lost their battle map, and I had a similar battle map, and they thought that I had taken their battle map. So I had to go through my eBay to show my purchase to say, look, I did not, and it honestly felt ridiculous that I had to, you know, to had to say, here is my purchase, here is evidence that I have bought this thing. It felt ridiculous to me. But some people have different ideas of doing things. So I've definitely had those, and that was a group that I ultimately stopped playing with. They, got along with most of them fine, but some of them, they didn't want a game involving roleplay, and that's fine. Some people, this is white, not bone. Some people don't, and it's just some people want different things, and it is. I think it is perfectly fine to be like, I've done it. I've done it in other groups where it's like we want different things, and it's fine. Not everything is gonna get along as well as like a Critical Role campaign. Those guys are professional voice actors, and they've been playing together for years. So not everyone's just gonna click that easily, unfortunately. Oh my goodness, these claws are just wrecking me. Boot it up again. You know what? I think I'm just gonna leave it and no, I'm not. I'm gonna do this a little better, I think. I might be able to fix that with my fine detail brush. Hey, Silent Brit, how are you doing, buddy? Welcome. But yeah, I mean, yeah, couple of times it's happened during at my age. You played that much D&D, it's gonna happen. You're not always gonna get along with every person. Not always gonna get along with every D&D group. Just happens sometimes. All right, okay. I'm basically happy with the claws. I think anyway. I mean, there's bits where like I've messed up a little bit, but I ultimately don't think you're going to be able to tell. when I end up putting the ink on. So I think now I'm gonna ink it. The chest is bothering me. The chest I think is too much color on it, or the color's in the wrong place. I can't really put my finger on it. I think there should be more red on the sides. Maybe a little bit of sides. Looks like Crash Bandicoot chose the dark side, Silent Brit. Nice. I'm gonna try. Maybe I should bring a bit of red into the sides of the chest. The chest just looks a bit weird to me. It looks fine from like this angle, but like straight on, the chest doesn't look right. Side on, it looks fine. But it looks like a Simpson character straight on. You know, like Simpsons characters don't look right. Anyway, I guess I will mess with it after I've done the inking. I think I'm going to use strong tone. Yeah. I think I'm going to use strong tone. And I'm going to just strong tone and probably the whole thing. Maybe not the cloth. Maybe I will do the cloth, actually. I've got dark tone. I could dark tone the cloth instead. I'm going to need to highlight it, though, if I use dark tone. You know what? I've got purple tone. I'll purple tone the cloth. That's what I'll do. No, I'll dark tone. Purple tone won't look right, I don't think. It'll be too subtle. Alright. Let's do some shading. I once heard someone describe these as a liquid skill. But I mean sometimes it can like so that the ink wash will go into like the crevices. You can see I tried to paint in the chest like where the spots were. The issue I'm having with is that I don't think like it's really coming across the nose, and like it because I'm supposed to be doing a were fox here, so like the snout should be like brighter, but like underneath. And I think like the colorization of this being so much brighter, I think maybe I should just add a little bit more color to the face. That might like diffuse that a little bit. Let me try that. Just before I start messing around with ink. Let me try doing that. Then it's make it sort of more obvious that this should like move down that way. Maybe it's that I didn't do the shoulders. Well, we'll get into this later. Way too much. Let's cool down on that. Pale is mostly where I want it to be like very bright, because that's where it should be bright. As a matter of fact, I think I didn't do the top of the tail correctly. I'm noticing here that it's not very good where it joins up. That's fine though. Who's gonna look that closely? Boy, I'm not sure if doing the shoulders helped or made it worse. Let me look at a picture of a fox on the internet, that might help. Yeah, I shouldn't have done the shoulders. Let's backtrack on that a little bit. Let's tone down the shoulders. Looks like a wolf from Killer Instinct. Trevor? Also, apologies, guys, we dropped some frames just now. That's going to happen, unfortunately. Earlier, when I was trying to set this up, my computer wanted to connect to the phone's internet instead, and that was very bad. Alright. Maybe a little bit of this on the chest. Bring it down a tiny bit. Yeah, it looks a little better. Alright. I haven't done the nose. The nose needs to be like brown, I guess. I just instinctively washed my dry brush. That was really silly. That's my dry brush. I should only wash it when I'm done. Oh well, whatever. Yeah, I'll do the nose and then I'll do the ink. Do I have a light brown for the nose? We use this acrylic brown I just found. That is definitely not mixed up correctly because it's come out like white. As a matter of fact, I just won't use that one. I will use a different brown. Here's Mornfang brown, but that's definitely going to be too dark. So maybe I'll mix it with a bit of that white that I just poured out. Do the nose, and then I'll actually ink it like I said I was going to do ages ago. You know what? You can't even tell that I'm painting the nose here. Oh wait, should the nose be black? Once again, I shall go to the internet for a picture of a fox. Yes, the nose should be black. I totally know what I'm doing. Let's do that instead. In which case, it is going to be equally difficult to do. Should have used a smaller brush. Almost fine. I can see where I've messed up a little bit. We will need to wait a little moment before I start messing around with Alright, that's basically... I'm going to leave the teeth the way they are because, like, the teeth are just going to be too hard to do. Let's add some liquid skill. Starting with... Should I use dark tone or should I use... Should I just put soft tone on the pants? I think I should use dark tone because there's too much color there anyway. Alright, gonna do the pants with dark tone. I don't have any paper for this. Here is a really, really old brush container I used to use. I will mix this up. That's a good point, Joan. And it's probably like just when the light catches it. I darkened it down a little bit. Alright. Dark tone. It's gonna look like I'm painting this like black, but that's not the case. It'll be more obvious later. Alright, base coating brush. Doesn't matter if I mess this up because you won't really see it. I haven't done the stand. I'm probably not going to do the stand right now because I'm holding it from the stand. But yeah, start adding some of this to it. That's basically what we're going for. It's on pretty heavy, but it's the way it's going to be. Don't think I really need much more than this. And that's pretty much the effect we're going for. It's gonna like mellow out a little bit, so take away a little bit because that's a little much. But yeah, when that's dry, that's gonna add some detail to that. Let's do the strong tone now, which will be everything else. Strong tone. This is like, there was a very very famous ink that Games Workshop used to make called Devlin Mud, and it was like the perfect tone that like you could put over anything. You could put it over like darks, metals, and anything, and it would look pretty good regardless. They stopped making it. Strong tone is the closest equivalent. We'll do the legs first. And I will probably end up... I will probably end up going over this with another coat of dry brushing just to bring it back up again, because this is going to make it super dark. But you can sort of see like the muscle detail that we were like losing a little bit has started to come back out again. I probably should have used soft tone actually. It feels like it's a little strong. The like sort of some of the detail in the tail is more visible than it was. Definitely going to pool under his chest because it did that previously. Yeah, you know what? In hindsight, I think I should have used soft tone. This is a bit too dark. That's fine, whatever. I'll just put it on really lightly. I say as I slaver it on. I keep wanting to like go for the paint and put more on, but we've got enough paint on the brush. Don't add any more. Careful not to blot out the eyes as well. Mostly happy with that, I think. Maybe that is too much over there, actually. I actually probably do want it pooling on the chest. Under the neck. Alright, that's sort of... I think this is too much here. We can dispense with that. I do want it darker in this space, but at what cost? Right. Sure. I think ultimately I'm just going to have to paint under there. But yes, that's basically going to be it, I think. Got some detail when it's dry. That should be good. We're going to put like another coat of highlight on, and I think I'm going to darken under the neck for it. But that's pretty close to what I imagined it turning out to be. Obviously, the ink is going to take a really long time to dry, so that's about as far as I can go on this live stream. I've got to be careful not to touch it as well, because otherwise you mess up the inking. But yeah, guys, that is the Werefox. I think I'm gonna want to put like a little bit more like darkening under the neck, but I think the ink has helped to dispense the fur to make it look a bit more natural. There's an also thing I should probably do is probably try and get the eyes so that the ink is not in it on this side. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being awesome. I have been MVL, and I will catch you next time.